After the excitement of E3, not much information about Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord has been released. But I've got something for you here, and I think it is somewhat exciting, and I've got a prediction that there will be a release date announcement at some point in the very near future, but I'll get onto that later in the video. Today I have a little bit of information from an interview. I've got a little bit more gameplay for you, which is interesting to say the least, and yeah, and I've also got that thing that is hinting me towards the announcement of a release date. But let's get straight into the video. So first off, from that quick interview, the only really new thing that I really heard from that is a stance system. Now this is when you're fighting, you can choose different stances to take, which we haven't seen in a Mount & Blade game before. There is one of two stances, there may be more, but these are the ones confirmed at the moment. This is talking about a left foot or right foot stance. You choose which foot is forward and which foot is behind. The right foot forward is a more aggressive stance. This is because your sword is in your right hand. You're going to be able to reach a little bit further, and maybe you'll have a little bit more power in your swing as well, as you're more sturdy with your right foot out in front. You also have your left foot stance with the left foot out in front. Your left hand is your shield hand. This means it's going to be a more defensive stance. This way we're going to have a lot of different options, not with only how we fight, but the way we fight as well, choosing the best stance to do the best amount of damage or to have the best defense, whichever the situation calls for. Next is the extra little bit of gameplay that we have been told about. Now we have seen the gameplay from E3, and this is the same battle, but this is from someone that went to go and play the game. I think it was just a normal guy that went to go and play this game, and it shows the whole battle as a whole. It is not just cut up and the bits that Tail want you to see. So yes, there's a few bits of issues in there that I will point out, but on the whole I think it looks really nice, and we get to see a little bit more there. So first off, you can see the orders coming into action. Seeing ordering the cavalry about. Of course, at the beginning, you get them to follow me. Now, I think the player is only controlling this cavalry squadron and nothing else at the moment. But we do see some of the new formations in action. Of course, he does use the scatter formation. Now, my prediction is this is some sort of a loose formation in order to counter archers and things like that. This is probably going to make the cavalry a little bit faster because they're more spread out from each other, not going to be bumping into each other as much. But you'll see later on they do a little bit of bumping every now and then. We do see each soldier and each horse seems very unique to one another. It's not quite like Warband, where in that game there were a couple of variations for each different troops, but they were all pretty much the same looking and they had all the same armor and stuff. This is quite different. Each one looks unique and different to one another, and I love that addition. It's always nice to keep the player immersed in a living and breathing world, because of course you wouldn't have clones of one another in real life. Yes, we do see a little bit of a problem with the AI. This is just one example of some of the pathfinding issues. I'm not completely sure if this is going to be fixed. This was also a problem we saw in Warband, so maybe it's just a Mount & Blade issue we have here. You can see the horse running into the player there. It's quite entertaining. It did give me a giggle when I saw that, but it does show that the AI pathfinding is not perfect at the moment, but what is perfect, let's be honest. But at least we got to see from that, you know, there's always a good thing that comes from the negatives. At least we got to see from that the cool reactions from the AI as he bumped in. You could see the horse and the man on the back of the horse. They gave quite a cool reaction there, and it shows that they have added in different reactions to different situations. So there's always something good that can come out of that little problem with the AI we saw there. I do love the riding animations. It looks absolutely awesome. Galloping down your enemy. It just feels very different to Warband, and of course when the friendly cavalry that you're commanding come up alongside the player, that looks absolutely awesome. I'm very excited to have some of these really cool charges with some of the clans and friends that I play with along the way. Of course, couch lancing is back. Where would Mount & Blade be without the infamous couch lance? This is going to be an issue in multiplayer, definitely for me, as I hate couch lances. Yes, it's a great thing to use, but when you're trying to have a 1v1 duel with another player and someone comes and couches you in the back, it's not the nicest thing to happen to you. But yes, couch lancing is back in the game. We have confirmation. I don't think there was any doubt about that, but here we see couch lancing in action. It looks like it's going to be doing a lot of damage, a lot like Warband does as well. We get a bit of a more in-depth look at the armor and the Karadik Empire, or I say in-depth look, it's more of a array of look. We see all the Karadik Empire troops together as one big blob, and I really love the purple look on them. I know, purple's a nice color, and it looks really nice on their armor, so that's another little thing we get to see. There's also an overhead spear attack. I just noticed this as I was watching it for the second time. You do see one or a couple of the spearmen trying to take out the cavalry, not only with the underthrow spear attack, but also an overhead over the top. Obviously, this is probably maybe going to get a bit more range in there and better for taking the guys off the backs of horses rather than just stabbing at the horse's legs. There's also AI kicking. Now, we do know kicking was in the game, as obviously in Warband, and we did see it in some gameplay a long time ago. But this is the first time we've seen the AI taking these animations and tactics into their roster. So the AI can actually kick you as a player, and we do see this guy trying to kick the player numerous times. Doesn't look like it's too successful, but they do end up getting him in the end. Talking about getting in the end, the AI does seem to team up a lot on the player. Maybe this is a problem that all the AI are just going to focus on the player. I'm not completely sure. I don't think that is the case in this scenario, but let's just watch out for that. I hope that doesn't happen in the future. But yes, the player does take a little bit of a beating, to say the least, but that does mean we get to see some view of the Spectator mode. Now, we haven't really seen this much before, and the Spectator mode gives you a massive overview of the whole battle. You can go around, see how your men are doing, see how the enemy are doing, and see who is winning on the battlefield. There's also the option for a fast forward button, which I have seen before in gameplays, but I've never actually mentioned it before. But that is a thing now, and we see the fast forward in option. So if you win a battle, or you're losing a battle, and you don't want to watch the rest of it if you're dead, that fast forward option is always there. Now, why did I say I think there's going to be some sort of an announcement for a release date sometime very soon? This is because about 18-19 hours ago, the Mount & Blade Bannerlord 2 Steam store page was changed. It was updated in some way. So I went looking in, thank you to Slovak who gave me these links to look at this stuff. I went looking in, and you can see that actually they have changed the tags on them. Now, tags are normally changed to attract people to the Steam store. If someone types in a type of game like medieval, RPG, things like that, that will come up on the game will show up, which means that more people are going to see it and it's going to sell more copies, obviously. Now, this is a prediction that we have seen a lot of new hints coming up in the somewhat recent days and weeks, and because this Steam store hasn't been updated for a long time, this is like one of the first times in the past few months that we've had a big change. Of course, there's been like changing some numbers, tweaks here and there with updates and things like that, but this is the first big change towards with selling the game. So I think we might somewhat see a release date announcement in the somewhat near future, but I'm very excited to see what we can come off that. But until then, guys, I will see you in the next one.